is KTTC News.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Caitlin Alexander. Uncomfortably hot out there. That's why it's a first alert day here at KTTC. We begin with Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen live on the weather patio. Nick, at least we started out the day with some much needed rainfall for our yards.
Yeah, we did start the day off with some rainfall. We had some thunderstorms move through, even some strong winds in some spots. We did get a couple reports of some trees down in some portions of southern Olmsted County. Had about an inch of rainfall out here on the weather patio earlier on today. Notice places north of Highway 14 up to maybe 2.5 inches in some spots. Had a report from Elgin of 2.52. Zumbrota at 1.25 inches from Mary there in Zumbrota. Douglas at 1.39. Officially at the airport, we were just under 0.6 of an inch of rain. First alert day remains in effect here today and into tomorrow. We now have a heat advisory from the National Weather Service. That'll be in effect from noon until 8 p.m. And I got to say, it is hot outside here today. So just wait until tomorrow when we have that heat advisory in place. Notice the expected heat indices reaching close to maybe 100 to 105 through the afternoon. So peaking from about 3 until close to 6 to 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Outside currently, temperature here at 87, 2 points, mid-70s, 95 is what it feels like here in Rochester. Probably even hotter than that out here on the weather patio. My little thermometer to my right shows me close to maybe about 97 out here standing on the concrete here on the weather patio. Temperatures locally still remaining in the mid-90s. Right now in Osage, it's 91. In Austin, as we look at future track radar, mainly clear skies continue. Hour by hour forecast here tonight. Still warm overnight. Overnight lows, lower 70s and upper 60s. We're actually tracking the chance a couple of showers and thunderstorms on the way Thursday and once again into Friday. We'll track that out with the heat. That's coming up in your full first alert forecast. Caitlin.
All right, Nick, thank you. It's the latest potential scam. Residents of Blue Earth County have reported some surprise phone calls demanding money. According to the Blue Earth County Sheriff's Office, the caller pretends to be someone from the Sheriff's Office. They accuse you of missing a court date or jury duty and will then ask you to pay a fine. The Sheriff's Office says these calls are fraudulent and that law enforcement would never ask for money in the form of an over-the-phone transfer or gift card. Anyone who believes they are a victim of this scam is encouraged to call 911. As students in the Rochester Public School District gear up for back to school, school activities will cost many families more. Last night, the Rochester School Board approved a 20% increase in participation fees, and it goes into effect for the upcoming fall activities. The district says the hike in prices will generate up to $106,000 in revenue. So what does this mean for families? This is how fall sports will be affected. Soccer, cross country, volleyball, girls tennis, and cheerleading will cost $185, up from $155. Girls swimming and diving jumps to $215 from $180. And football will now cost $255, up from $215. The district says families who qualify for free or reduced lunch prices will continue to qualify for free sports participation.
We're having cost increases all over the board. So everything from the athletic officials that are paid to officiate the games, to the rental fees, to the bus transportation fees, everything's been going up multi-digit percentages over the last couple of years.
At 6, we'll hear from some RPS parents of student athletes about how they're feeling about this increase. Rochester police are investigating a theft of Rochester School District property. A trailer was stolen from the Jefferson Elementary parking lot in northeast Rochester. Rochester police say the driver of a light-colored SUV entered the parking lot just after 10 p.m. Sunday and hooked up the trailer and drove off. This is an image of the trailer to give you an idea of what to look out for. The trailer contained 40 6-foot tables and approximately 200 folding chairs on rolling carts. Anyone who may know something about the theft is asked to reach out to Rochester police. Most students are still soaking up the last few weeks of summer break, but others are now officially back to the classroom for a new year of learning. Longfellow Elementary resumes classes today. Longfellow is the only school in the Rochester district to follow a 45-15 schedule. That means students go to school for 45 days and then take a 3-week break. They get an extended summer break of about 6 weeks. Longfellow is both a neighborhood and district-wide school. About 30% of students are from the neighborhood, and the rest are from families who seek out this type of year-round learning.
Our students have a shorter summer. They have time to play outside, but they're really ready to get back to school. And we really appreciate the learner retention. They have a lot of skills that they continue to build and don't lose over the summer, and just having that balanced schedule throughout the year.
We hope all Longfellow Leopards and staff have a great first day back. Some heavy rain and winds, as Nick mentioned, tore through the Byron-Casson area this morning, bringing down branches and power lines. This video was taken in a neighborhood on the west side of Byron. A tree came down and took a power line with it. The rural area a couple miles south of Byron and Casson was hit hard as well. The high winds took down a lot of branches and some power lines. There was also some hail that uprooted and bent some corn stalks. We spoke to one Casson farmer whose crops weren't hit too badly, but did have a large branch come down and block his driveway.
As I was eating breakfast, then I looked out the window and it got dark, and then it got darker, and then it got really dark. I mean, it was almost like night. And then the wind started up and the rain. We had about 1 3/10 inches here.
In total, around 450 customers in the Byron-Casson area lost power during the storm. Most customers' power has since been restored. The Iowa Supreme Court says Governor Kim Reynolds can move forward with her appeal of a temporary block on the state's new abortion law. Reynolds announced her intentions to appeal the decision last week. The court has now formally allowed the request to move forward. The law would restrict abortions after about 6 weeks of pregnancy. Right now, abortion is legal up to 20 weeks while the law is on hold. A scary moment on Capitol Hill today involving Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. McConnell had to be escorted away from a press conference after freezing up mid-sentence. KTTC's Washington News Bureau reporter Josh Roltenberg has the latest.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell suddenly stopped talking in the middle of a weekly Senate Republican leadership press conference. He was beginning to speak about finishing up the country's annual defense bill and how there was bipartisan cooperation when he froze. McConnell didn't say a word for about 20 seconds before the senator standing next to him asked him if he was okay. Staff escorted him away. A few minutes later, McConnell came back to the podium. He said he was fine, but didn't say what happened. He was then asked if he was fully able to do his job. McConnell responded, yeah. An aide to the Senate Minority Leader tells us McConnell felt lightheaded and had to step away for a moment. His staff says that Senator McConnell returned to handle questions from reporters, which everyone observed was sharp. Now, McConnell, who's 81 years old, has had a history of medical issues. Most recently, he spent several weeks in the hospital and a rehab center after a bad fall in March. In Washington, I'm Josh Roltenberg.
Courthouse confusion today in Delaware, where the plea deal for President Biden's son Hunter fell apart at the finish line. Hunter Biden pleading not guilty to federal tax charges. He was prepared to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts of failing to pay his taxes in 2017 and 18. But that hit a snag when the federal judge raised concerns about a related agreement on the more serious charge of possessing a gun as a known drug user. Also in 2018. It is still possible that Hunter Biden's original plea deal will go ahead. The judge overseeing this has asked both sides to hammer out the details and give her some more information. This could all happen roughly within the next 6 weeks. The Miracle of Birth Center at the Olmsted County Fair is open, and it's already welcoming new baby animals. This is the 12th year for the center, which aims to educate people about life on the farm. People can witness births of calves, turkeys, goats, and piglets who make a grand entrance.
They come out pretty fast. Like they can come out head first or back feet first, and they just kind of slide out, and then they shake off a little bit and their ears flop out, and then go have breakfast.
The barn is open daily through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. In just a few minutes, a cocktail as well as some camaraderie may be calling your name in Chatfield. Community Cocktail Hour is a new event aiming to create an environment where residents, organizations, and business owners can gather to connect and engage in community efforts. Come for the refreshments and conversation, stay for the raffle, wine, beer, non-alcoholic beverages, and snacks. Those will also be available. It'll be at the Chatfield Center for the Arts from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Happening now, the Orinoco Fire Department is hosting a different type of recruitment event. It's a day to get to know your local first responders and learn what it's like to work in this field. Residents from Olmsted, Dodge, Wabasha, and Goodhue counties are welcome. There will be food trucks, live music, kids activities, and fire truck tours. Any current first responder who is there will get a discount on food. It runs until 8 tonight at the Orinoco Fire Hall. Tonight, we're celebrating the trade skills. Tom Overly is hosting the inaugural KTTC STEM Signing Day special. It starts at 7 p.m. at KTTC.com and on our streaming platforms. We're recognizing those who are entering the STEM field and trade skills. We also speak with Congresswoman Angie Craig about her push to support apprenticeships. So tune in at 7 tonight at KTTC.com. The role dance therapy is taking for a certain brain disorder coming up in today's Health Minute. Also a sneak peek at our July Kid with Courage who's showing bravery on and off the field. Also, we're continuing to track these uncomfortably warm temperatures in your Weather Authority forecast. That water looks nice.
Get up to
Around 500,000 Americans are diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, according to the National Institutes of Health. It's a brain disorder that can cause unintended movements like shaking and muscle stiffness. It can also lead to difficulty with balance and coordination. But a U.S. hospital is using a new approach aimed at helping those living with Parkinson's. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how dance therapy is changing the lives of some patients.
In 2016, Jessica Ford started noticing an involuntary tremor in her right hand. It proceeded for months before she went to the doctor and was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
For a while, I kind of thought that really would end my life or change it so dramatically.
This 76-year-old says it took about a year to adjust her attitude toward the disease and to find a medicine that helped her symptoms, all the while remaining active.
Dance feeds my soul, and I love movement. I love music.
Now she's able to share that love with others living with the same disease.
For me, it was like the minute this thing came across my email, I signed up.
It's called Dancing with Parkinson's, a 5-week program offered by Northwestern Medicine and the Joffrey Ballet in Chicago.
All exercise is good for people with Parkinson's.
Dr. Danny Bega says the dance classes address the disease as a whole, helping not only his patients' bodies, but also their minds.
Learning and trying to remember steps in a dance routine is good for working with memory and improving thinking. We've seen benefits in people describing improvement in anxiety and in fatigue.
My body felt more relaxed. I felt more engaged, and the whole mental attitude was quite elevated.
After being apart from people during the COVID-19 pandemic, Ford says it's also nice to be social again.
I'm still smiling. What does that tell you?
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Here's your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Jensen.
I bet you're happy to be back inside now, not on that weather patio anymore.
Yeah, I gotta say, I almost had to redo my makeup. Almost sweated it all off just standing out there
Just
for
a couple
about
minutes is all it takes.
Minute and a half. Yeah, it's hot outside. At least, though, we led with weather earlier about the rain this morning. At least we were able to pick up some significant amounts of rain in some spots, especially for northern Olmsted County, I guess you could say. Some places like Lake City, about 1.5 inches. We talked about Elgin at 2.5 inches. We got a couple reports in Rochester close to about 1 inch. Right around about 1.39, 1.4 in some spots. The Mayo helipad downtown, just over 1 inch. Here at the studio, we're at 1 inch. RST, just at 59/100ths of an inch of rain. And now we have the heat and humidity returning. It is hot outside. First alert day still in effect for tonight and then through the day tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the hotter of the two. So if you thought today was hot, just wait until tomorrow. We have a heat advisory in effect for all of southeast Minnesota, northeast Iowa. That heat advisory in effect from noon until 8 p.m. So I think those heat indices may be approaching, say, 100 to 105 through the afternoon coming up tomorrow. So yes, it can be dangerous if you're out not staying hydrated for a long period of time. Temperature outside here in Rochester still falling shy of 90, right? 87. So we still have yet to reach that 90-degree mark this year. 95 for the feel like condition. Those dew points are terrible in the mid-70s. No way to sugarcoat it. It is hot and humid outside here. Locally, we're looking at temperatures warming up into the lower 90s in some spots. So 90s in Mason City, Albert Lee, Austin, Osage, La Crosse, I think was at 90 earlier today. Feels like 94 in La Crosse. Feels like 98 in Charles City. Feels like 95 here in Rochester. And we look at the heat and humidity across the upper Midwest here. Notice St. Cloud all the way up to 94. The real hot weather off to the west in the northern plains through the Dakotas, even Minot at 94, Grand Forks at 95, and it feels like 104 out there in northern North Dakota. Now, the frontal boundary here right near Bismarck, that's our weather maker for the next probably 2 days here. And we'll see the threat for maybe some showers and thunderstorms on the way, not just on Thursday, but specifically on Friday. I'm going to keep a close eye on that. Maybe the chance for a couple scattered stronger storms in areas in dark green here. So kind of drawing right through about Rochester, so I-90 corridor down towards Mason City. We'll keep a close eye on that for Friday afternoon. There's actually several rounds of some showers and thunderstorms. So even though we're hot and humid, at least we have some of these rain chances in the forecast here to help that deficit to that extreme drought that we've had in Olmsted County. So tomorrow morning we're dry. We head towards the afternoon. It is hot. Strong southerly winds. Temperatures warming into the mid-90s for tomorrow. There's a chance for a couple of isolated, maybe stray isolated thunderstorms into the evening and then overnight hours into early Friday. Some showers and thunderstorms Friday morning. This is at 6 o'clock. So again, just some isolated storms. I think through the afternoon on Friday we're able to warm up, and then maybe another round of thunderstorms moving in by the late afternoon, early evening hours. So again, just some isolated type activity both Thursday and again on Friday. Tonight, warm and muggy. Overnight lows in the upper 60s and some lower 70s. Tomorrow's forecast here, high temperatures in the mid-90s for a lot of us. Notice our heat index values tomorrow, 95, then 101 by the afternoon. So for Thursday's downtown tomorrow, it will be a hot one, at least most of Thursdays, though. Downtown Rochester, we're in the shade, so that will help things a little bit. As we look here, temperatures coming up the next couple days, we're at 92 tomorrow, that first alert day in place. Friday, we'll see the threat for showers and thunderstorms. And then Saturday and Sunday, after that front moves in this weekend, we're in the low 80s for both those days. Caitlin.
All right, Nick, thank you. He's strong both on and off the football field, and he's our July kid with courage. Tonight, we'll introduce you to Ryder Martin of Inver Grove Heights. He's battled a cancer diagnosis over multiple years and is now back to enjoying his active lifestyle. The special thank you he's giving to an organization that helped his family through his fight tonight at 10.
Join us for Midwest Access.
2/3 of Americans agree that fraud has reached a crisis level in our nation, according to a new report by the AARP. In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Carice Jackman spoke with experts about the methods criminals are using to steal money and tips on what you can do to protect yourself.
We've been seeing a dramatic increase in the number of reports about fraud, and we also know that the number of reports is just the tip of the iceberg because of so much under-reporting.
Kathy Stokes knows this more than anyone. As the Director of Fraud Prevention at the AARP, she's heard directly from hundreds of fraud victims.
It's not just old people that this happens to. It's just not the people who aren't tech savvy. It's everybody. Younger people experience it more often than older people.
It's why the AARP recently released this report about consumer fraud awareness getting a D grade. Two key findings: 2 in 3 U.S. adults think scams and fraud have hit a crisis level. And 3 in 5 adults are not aware that peer-to-peer payment apps, which fraudsters often use to get your money, don't have the same consumer protections as credit cards. Stokes says people need to understand that the way criminals operate is by getting you into a hyper-emotional state.
It is a physiological fact of our brains that when we are in fight or flight mode, and it might be panic, it might be fear, it might be tremendous excitement, I just won $2 million in a car, we're kind of stuck up in our fight or flight response, and it's not easy to back out and access logical thinking.
Stokes warns one red flag to look for is any request to buy gift cards for payment. About 25% of adults reported being unaware that being asked to make a payment or send money by gift cards is a scam. The AARP's report also says 1/3 of adults do not know it is a scam when someone directs you to use a cryptocurrency ATM to address some financial concerns. It's why Stokes says educating people about the signs of scams and fraud is so important.
The more we talk about it, the less likely our friends and loved ones are going to experience this and understand this is crime and we need to do more about it.
Stokes also feels we have to start collectively thinking about fraud and cybercrime differently when it comes to how it's impacting those affected.
We need to be empathetic and help the person understand it wasn't their fault and file a report. But we don't do that. And we have this narrative that it's the victim's fault with this type of crime.
With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
The AARP's Fraud Watch Network is a free resource that helps consumers keep up to date on the latest scams and how to spot them. Nearing 70% of Americans believe fraud has hit that crisis level. We'll be right back.
It's the final days in the...
This story is pretty neat. Subway is running a promotion in August giving sandwich fans a chance to win free sandwiches. Guess what? For life. There is a little catch, though, to change their first name to Subway.
That is a bit of a catch. According to Bloomberg, once a winner is chosen, if there are many, many Subway whatevers to choose from, the company will pay the winner's legal fees to assume, quote, a new iconic identity. Subway has roughly 37,000 franchise-run locations in upwards of 100 countries. So the contest starts August 1st. You have a couple days to mull over this decision. It's a big decision, Nick.
I don't think it's
Subway Jansen.
I already mulled over it. You don't have to call me Subway. I can go by another name.
No, I want to change the branding. Your first alert forecast with Subway Jansen.
I will let you address the general manager here. You can send her an email and say, I, Caitlin Alexander, think Nick should change his name to Subway so he gets free sandwiches.
We'll work out the contract situation where I'll take like one sandwich every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's fair.
I'd get a free sandwich every day. Yeah, I wonder, would someone could kind of take advantage of that, right?
You
I mean,
could.
how many free sandwiches could you get?
There's got to be some kind of cap.
Right?
Otherwise you'd feed the building every
Although
day.
they are changing their name to Subway. I think you should be able to get as many free sandwiches as you want.
This is a very, very complex offer.
It really is.
But let's quickly talk about what's happening outside today. It's not comfortable to be outside. If you can be in the air conditioning, maybe go that route.
Yeah, it's not a complex forecast here today. It's just hot, and tomorrow will be warm again. We have a heat advisory in effect for all of southeast Minnesota and northeast Iowa. Excessive heat warning in the Twin Cities coming up tomorrow. That's because heat index values will get close to, if not above 100 coming up tomorrow. So right through about 3, 5, 7 p.m. tomorrow, right during peak daytime heating hours. Warm those high temperatures into the mid-90s, and then those heat index values into maybe the low 100s coming up tomorrow. That'd be the first time this year that we would be close to that here in Rochester. Tomorrow, forecast 92 for the highest and first alert day in place. We are tracking a couple chances for some showers and thunderstorms, maybe late Thursday, early Friday morning, and once again Friday afternoon and evening, so we'll keep an eye on that. This weekend looking nice, though, so at least we're kind of done with the heat and humidity in the work week, and then the weekend looks nice, seasonal. It'll feel a lot different. 80s warm, but 90s are hot.
The payoff will be worth it. Thanks for joining us for KTTC News today at 5.
We'll see you tonight at 6. Maybe I'll have a different name. Maybe Subway Jansen. Find out.